everyone, welcome back from Easter. Mummy and Daddy said I was so good that they wanted me back again.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of true.
Kind of true. You're on an inset day. We thought, do you know what? Let's get you in for the last, before we get back to that thing called school.
Because all content with you in just gets way better engagement than content with us in. So basically, we're abusing you as our daughter. Is that all right?
Yes.
Or
happy days.
earning your keep.
Earning your keep. But this week, we have something fractionally different because we asked a couple of people what they would ask you. And they've given us questions. Don't read them, they're on the screen. And what's interesting, the couple of people literally we asked, both asked a similar question. But first of all, before we get into all of that, how was your Easter holidays?
It was good. I got lots of chocolate.
Yeah.
We did a couple Easter egg hunts. And it was nice spending time with my cousins and my grandparents.
So the Easter holidays seem to be like the longest holidays known to man. We crammed in a lot of stuff.
Now this hasn't happened for a couple of Easters, but I generally survived an Easter without going to hospital.
That is true. You have absolute history of being ill and including going to hospital around Easter.
Yes.
And you didn't. Can I just going back to, I just put something in the backstage area for the Digital Circus about how long Easter's been. So ours started on the Friday.
1,000 dawns?
Yeah, 1,000 dawns ago because the boys had an inset day. Then we had 2 weeks off. Then there was Easter Monday yesterday. Today, Lydia-Rose has got an inset day, so we're still not back to it. Tomorrow morning, I have a doctor's appointment, so we're still not back to it. So Thursday, which is essentially 3 weeks, we are back full force.
Into a digital circus
Straight
session.
into a digital circus session, and obviously talking about the Funpreneurs Big Day Out. But, shall I ask some questions?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to read the same question and then one of them asked the second question, all right? So Vaishali, say hi Vaishali.
Hi, Vaishali.
Who lives in Dubai.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, how cool's that? And David, who lives just outside London.
Hi, David.
They both asked essentially this. David said, sorry, that was a really long nap. You'll have to go to the LinkedIn post to see what that's about. He also popped this on TikTok, so we can do a TikTok with this. But the question I'd like to ask would be, don't answer this yet, have a think. What have you learned about business from watching your parents run theirs? Vaishali says, great idea to get questions from people you know. I would ask Lydia-Rose, what's something cool, important lesson you've learned from your parents about business? And then there's a second question for Vaishali in business.
Well, for those questions, Vaishali is first. I would be nice to your clients.
You learnt that from Mummy and Daddy to be nice to...
because I hear you when you're quite loud when you're in meetings. You are.
Who's louder?
What's that answer?
Should we ignore that question?
You're both.
You're both loud.
Diplomatic.
Yeah.
That's how I get.
Right, so we're both really loud and you hear us being nice, yeah?
Yeah.
And so that's like your top lesson you've learned from us, would you say?
It's out of my top 3.
Okay, what a couple of other things you've learned?
You've got to be skillful, and you've got to know what you're doing.
Do you think, I'm taking that question and changing it slightly, from all the businesses you see out there, what do you see Mummy and Daddy maybe doing differently to other people, if we do, and how we run our lives and things like that?
Well, you're actually doing it in video and sometimes in person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in all fairness, Lydia-Rose has got nothing really to benchmark that against. She only sees ours.
Oh, no, she's online.
Yeah, I'm online.
Not really.
It's different from Temu.
From Temu? Oh, you love
You're comparing Mummy to Temu. So, okay, so let's just recap that question. It's a great idea. What's something cool, important lesson you've learned from parents about your business? And you're saying elbows. Be kind. I gave you this to fidget with.
I know.
Fidget with that. Don't fidget with all this. So be kind, be skillful. And what was the third one?
Be kind, skillful, and know what you're doing.
Know what you're doing.
Do you think Mummy and Daddy know what we're doing?
Sometimes.
Yeah, we do. Okay, so Vaishali had a second question. What's one thing you would teach grown-ups like stinky adults about being confident online?
Just talk lots.
Just talk lots.
Yeah, but talk lots, but make sure that other people are talking.
What is that, like listening and making sure they have a chance to
Yeah.
speak?
Yeah.
So what if someone's really nervous, not really not very confident
Let's
online?
change that to shy.
Okay, they're really shy and they're not quite, ready to do it. How could they start?
They could put it in a group chat,
Yeah.
and they could write it instead of saying it, and maybe get them to say short sentences
Right.
instead of long ones.
Okay.
Because long ones get you to talk too much, but if they're shy, you kind of want them doing that. But
Do you get nervous?
yes,
Do you? You come across very confident when you do all this kind of stuff.
yeah,
Shy, we're saying. Why would you? Are you shy now?
no,
Why are you not shy now?
because I've got used to talking. I've always been the talker of the family.
Have you?
You're very good at talking to most people, actually. You are very smiling. You will walk up to most people and just introduce yourself and get involved in a conversation.
Yeah,
But to be honest, Lydia-Rose, that's probably one of the biggest things about business is just being able to talk to people.
yeah, and even when Daddy's doing voicemails, I will still say hi to whoever it is.
Why?
There you
Why do you say hi to everyone?
Hold on 1 second. If you've ever had a voice note from me in the DM, please let us know in the comments. Should be like
Because
thousands.
you'll probably hear me saying hi, and Daddy will say, that's our oldest Lydia-Rose.
Yeah.
Why do you say hi to them? Why do you say hi to them?
Well, because I just feel like getting involved, even though it's not my stuff, to say, it's just nice to say hi.
It is nice
It's nice to say hi. It is nice to say hi. Right. So, how would someone progress from perhaps a little text note into a voice note?
Maybe get them to say, can you write something a little bit more complicated and longer sentences?
Okay. So build up a little bit
Yeah.
more and more.
Yeah, get them to build up, and then get them to actually say long sentences and talk to them.
Do you think, because you've done, I think, this is your third podcast with us?
Yeah.
Do you feel more confident doing it now than your first one with us?
Yeah.
Right. Here's the big question though. If you were to do your own podcast, what would it be on? Because the boys both want their own YouTube channels. So what could you do? What would you want to
Well,
talk
if
about?
it was a YouTube channel for me, I'd do it on my flower arranging.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about my flower arranging in the last 2, but generally I'm really good at it. So if I wasn't flower arranging, Dad,
What?
I know what you did.
What did I do? I just smiled because I think you're fabulous.
Just mind your microphone, miss. Okay.
Yeah, just smile because you're fab.
If it wasn't flower arranging, it would be stickers.
Stickers.
Stickers. What about pin badges?
Pin badges, I thought about that, but
You over it?
no, I'm not over it because they're cool and they've got good texture.
Could you talk about that on a podcast for half an hour?
No, I don't.
No, could you?
I would run out in about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes.
Could you bring other people in who have an equal passion for pin badges, and you could compare your pin badge collections?
Yeah,
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Florist
Hopefully-
was the first choice, wasn't it?
yeah. If it wasn't a florist, it would be pin badges.
Okay. For those who don't know, there are videos of Lydia-Rose on YouTube. In your first ever YouTube series, can you remember what it was called? You were very young.
Lydia-Rose's Adventures.
Lydia-Rose's Adventures, and you did the artwork, and it had a custom theme tune and everything,
Lydia-Rose's Adventures.
with some bubbles going over the top.
Yeah.
Right, I think we will do that one there because it is an inset day, so we want to go and. What do you want to do on your inset day? Just say. What did you say? Tell us.
I'm definitely going out for a bubble tea.
A bubble tea.
Anyone who listened to last week's episode, you'll know my thoughts on bubble tea.
Yeah.
It's not a meal. It's a drink.
But can I, look, because I actually think some of the things you've said are quite important. So before we wrap up, I'm going to recap. Right?
Recap.
So the three...
Recap.
Recap. Can I get a recap?
Oh, recap.
Yeah.
Recap. Mind the microphone. But that is cool. So the 3 things you've learned from us are be nice, know your stuff and be skillful.
Be skillful.
And then we talked about confidence, and you said like just start with little bits of text and build up and build up and build up. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now Lydia-Rose isn't going to be on for the next few weeks because basically you're going
I've
to be
got school.
You got to go to
Sucks
school.
to be you, kid. Sucks to be you.
School
Sucks to
small.
be you working.
I enjoy working.
That's it. But for us, we have the Funpreneurs Big Day Out coming up on June the 19th. Link for tickets.
Funpreneurs Big Day Out.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. And if there's ever anything you want us to do an episode on or whatever, chuck it in the comments and let us know. Or whatever. That's so dismissive.
Or whatever.
I know. I hate it when I say that. But yeah, should we say bye?